we got a lot of fun stuff going on with AI
Mhm.
today. And I think there's more good competition happening right before our eyes than ever before, where we as the consumers right now are the winner.
That's right. And so again, a lot of that's going on right now, and we're starting to see, I think one of the things that's flooded social media that's kind of blinded us to a lot of this competition right now has been the outlay of ChatGPT 4.0. Everywhere you look, there's demonstrations, and we're really getting to see how fluid and really kind of human like it is, which is kind of polarized, kind of, I think, the consumers and those who are a little nervous about it are more nervous. And those who really want to embrace it have just said, look, we just hit a whole new level. And it is pretty amazing. And I think it's going to become so comfortable that you almost look at some of I think of Bicentennial Man, some of those old movies, Robin Williams, where it
Yeah,
just
of
becomes so
course.
natural that it's
Yeah.
like a part of your family. And I think that's where we're heading. But a lot of people haven't seen, like Google Astra, which is Google's response to 4.0 in, multimodal functions, very human-like, very um, smooth language. But then at the same time, it's really interesting. Like you said, Google was rolling out this announcement with I/O, and a day or two before that happens, ChatGPT drops, 4.0 right in front of it, like stepping on their toes. And then not only that, but once Google goes through its event, then it comes out that OpenAI is partnering with Apple on iOS 18 on the update to integrate, Siri 2.0, which is going to be a huge upgrade to, with predictive analysis, with summarization of notifications and messages, and a lot of different updates in how Siri is. Because, like you've spoken to in the past, there are certain companies who could have hit a home run with some of these different in-home tools, but they either didn't market it well or they didn't really have all the kinks worked out. And Siri has been one of those things where it was cool at the beginning, but then it kind of, what you could do with it kind of stalled. And so this is going to be a major facelift. And so now we're looking at, 4.0, we're looking at Astra, we're looking at now Siri getting an upgrade, and that's pretty impressive. And so it's really going to be whatever you want to choose. And again, right now, all of these are free. You're
Mhm.
able to use them however you want. And so again, like you and I talk about in our classes, the waves are just coming. And if you're not going to grab a surfboard and learn how to surf, you're going to be left on the beach, and you're really gonna hurt after that.
One of the things that's so interesting is the battle between ChatGPT and Google. I haven't seen this type of open competition where it seems like right before Google announces something big, it's almost like they got a leak and ChatGPT comes out with something. And then Google now is creating more content than I've ever seen before, shorts and other things now on YouTube. And I think it's fantastic because I see ChatGPT as a smaller, more flexible person in the room, while Google's the more established, slower moving. It's kind of like when I was at IBM. We wanted to look cutting edge, but we really couldn't move too fast. So what we had to do is sell vaporware, like it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. While ChatGPT's got it out in many
Right.
of them. So I think it's important to watch this battle because it is a major accelerator in the entire AI platform. They're all competing. It's out in the open, and the the missing piece is when people get stuck just working with like ChatGPT and they
Right.
aren't exploring the others as we break down in our training. We've got Copilot, which of course draws on ChatGPT, and then we've got, of course, Google's Gemini, and then let's not forget Claude is
Hmm.
still. I'm seeing more ads on Facebook for Claude than ever before. So it's
Right.
like, hey, we're here too, and it goes on. And all of these are competing and offering a free level because, of course, they want to get further training and they want to get more experiences. And this is the time to do it. Now, I do want to talk about, as someone who's paying for the paid ChatGPT 4.0, the $20 a month. The other's available, but what I understand is we're getting a little bit higher priority, faster response, and other tools. So they're smart in making sure they don't kill off their paid customers so they'll go away, because if you're using it, you want priority. And the other piece of it is just that ongoing conversation that's
Hmm.
occurring. I'll ask it a question and then he'll initiate a question and then another question. And it just keeps going, exploring what's occurring. Little thing I did is, as you know, my stepson Emery, the senior data scientist, he wrote a bunch of equations on a board we have in the house. We kind of leave it up, and I took a picture. I said, "Explain what these are," and it
Hmm.
did. And they were just quickly written on a board. And he goes,
Hmm.
"Those are, matrix multiplications and so forth. And I believe what's happening is this, this, and this."
Hmm.
This is extraordinary. It's just a crude photo at an angle, deliberately not perfect. And asked ChatGPT 4 to break it down and showed it to him. He goes, "Yeah, that's pretty much what I put on the board."
Yeah. And see, what's interesting for me, someone who studied military history and strategy for most of my life, is it's really interesting what you're seeing, because a lot of people think that all of this started with the introduction of ChatGPT in 2022, and they think, wow, this has just magically popped up overnight. They don't realize how long this has been going on. I mean, artificial intelligence, Turing has been, in the works in some
Mhm.
way, shape, or form since World War II. The just sheer amount of money that's been invested in this behind the scenes is staggering. And you look at, Apple, who is really now starting to step into it. Apple has been buying up startup companies for years. Google has, Microsoft has as well. And if you don't think Tesla with Elon Musk has, then, you've been out of the game. And so what's really interesting to me is, Google is massive, Microsoft is massive, Apple is said to be one of the biggest companies with the most cash on hand in the world. And then of course you've got Tesla. And the thing is despite how big these companies are, it all really comes back to OpenAI. And if you looked at this like a battlefield, what's interesting to me is how dispersed OpenAI is into this. OpenAI, of course, they have their own products. Microsoft's backing them. Now they're working with Apple. They've talked about, talks with Elon Musk about integrating Chat GPT into robotics. There are more than one company that's talked about, Chat GPT being integrated into the robots. And what's really, struck me this week was, I can't remember the company, but there is a company right now that has a very fluid and streamlined looking robot that can fold in all these different
Oh,
ways.
yeah.
It can conduct, it can use tools and things like that. $16,000. Now,
Yeah.
to me,
That's insane.
$16,000 is a big investment. But when
Yeah.
you look at the sheer amount of money that's invested in all this stuff, $16,000 is
Yeah.
nothing for having an actual robot that can conduct specific tasks physically, and it's integrated with ChatGPT 4 or 4 Turbo.
Yeah.
That is really getting into the whole next level. And so that's really exciting. But again, what I've seen over the last 2 weeks is with the announcement of, you know, Claude and Amazon and ChatGPT and robotics and things like that. Now that AI is in a way starting to enter into the physical world, now everybody is really panicking about the future of work.
Yeah.
And, are we going to have um, a open, kind of financial system where everybody is kind of like Trekonomics with Star Trek, or is Sam Altman right, where everybody's going to have, kind of a slice of, or is Sam Altman really on the right track where everybody's going to have a slice of, ChatGPT 7 compute, to where we have access to that instead of access to kind of a societal income stream. And again, this was all just kind of hypothesis until you started actually integrating it into a physical machine. And it seems like I'm off on a tangent, but that's where we're going to be very soon. And, for example, with Astra, one of the things that Google is looking at is Astra is able, it's multimodal. It's able to actually, like Foro, use video and visual. But one of the things that they're really pushing is being able to use your phone or Google Glasses to react real time with sound, video, and audio and have AI integrate there. And so now you're really getting into that heavily augmented reality and the ability where people can actually either have autonomous robots or have robots that can be manipulated or driven in a way by a user, which Russia is really putting in a lot of military budget into right now. And so, within a year or 2 years, it's not out of the ordinary to think that the whole workforce is going to be dominated by these type of tools, especially when you're talking about billions of dollars being invested. So, that seems like I'm going, speaking of, Musk, let's launch this rocket. You think I'm going into the stratosphere, but that right there just shows how fast this is developing and how much there is a need for everybody to learn these skills.
Two things I want to talk about that are rolling out right now, and that's generative AI in Google search. This is a game changer to SEO, to content generation. All of these people need to pay attention to this. And a lot of the groups that I meet with, we're discussing how is this going to affect things. So when you go to search and Google doesn't just give you a bunch of web links, but gives you an answer
Mm-hmm.
and then gives you ways to find out where it found the information, but it's also going to be mixing in paid ads. This is a changer to content marketing. This is a changer to how we search. And then at the bottom, it says, we might make up some of this stuff. Some of this may
Right.
not be accurate. It's important that we understand how profound this change is. Facebook, of course, is also, if you go in your search on your phone, you'll find its AI, Meta AI is in there. Many people are complaining about that. How do I turn it off? Well, they're going to infuse it in everything. Why?
Right.
They want to learn quickly. They want to find out what's not working, what is. We're partially the guinea pigs, and we're also the people benefiting from it. Practice and play with the free ones right now. And then
Right.
Google's has theirs if you have a Gmail account, a free account, that's where you're going to get a lot of the free stuff right now to test it and try it out. You'll get the little star and
Mm-hmm.
notice that and start playing with that. Then, of course, we have Apple that looks like they're courting ChatGPT for their
Right.
next upgrade.
And so again, you've touched on OpenAI and then Google. And so with the iPhone, what's going to happen is you're going to get with iOS 18. This is what they're reporting, and Bloomberg was one of the first ones to really launch this out there. Was existing features such as auto populate for your calendar and suggested apps. There's going to be enhancements to photos as far as AI based editing, very big for those who use their phone on Canva or Instagram. You'll be able to do a lot more there. And then predictive intelligence, which a lot of what that is auto summarization and suggestions. Their Siri is going to get a huge chatbot upgrade. And so, from what it sounds like, you're going to see Siri go from, hey, Siri, call somebody to hey Siri, and then you're going to be able to give essentially a prompt, much like what you're seeing with Claude or ChatGPT, Gemini, things like that. And so, those individuals who use Android, they've kind of seen this with Gemini being updated into some of their what is it, the Galaxy maybe. So this is going to be Apple's answer to that because they don't want to be outdone, and so essentially this is going to be their ability to have Siri get a huge AI injection to where you'll be able to use them in addition to any apps that you want to download. So that's going to be huge. And again, that's another competition that you're going to be able to benefit from because a lot of these phone companies now, every time there's an upgrade or you are become active for an upgrade, you get huge discounts on phones. And so looking into this, you're really going to not be in the competition as much for just a mobile device as much as an AI assistant.
Mhm.
And there's going to be huge discounts. Sign up with us and get a free iPhone, iOS 18, Siri 2.0. And so you're going to see a lot more competition, I think, from even, US Cellular,
Yep.
Verizon, things like that. So it's really going to affect everything. And these companies are really taking this serious. OpenAI, we did a video on Sam Altman and what happened over Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
A lot of that was tied back to ethics and safe usage and things like that. Well, now we have Ilya Sutskever and, others on the leadership team have left, and they're going to resign, which is affected their super alignment team, which focuses on AI safety. But Martin, as you put it so well, it's more in the future. Where are we
Yep.
going? What's guiding our company towards safe and ethical AI? So, the big news that's come out recently is that team has been disbanded because those key players have left. Now, OpenAI says that they're still going to take this seriously, which they have to. There's such a central figure to it. But that's caused a lot of polarization again in the AI industry, because now people are saying, well, if OpenAI, which is one of the most valuable companies in this sector, is not going to focus on safety over shiny new toys or shiny new products, how's that going to impact the industry? And then there are others who are like, well, do we really need that much focus on it? Really, we're talking about advancement here. We need to advance this tool as far as we can. And we really need to find that good middle ground where it's both safe and ethical, but then, yeah, it's powerful. How is it going to affect the new industrial revolution in this digital age?
Something really important to mention here is that the people who left OpenAI, those were the ones looking at the future, not the current activity. So one could say they've decided they're projecting ethics on things that don't exist yet. It's important to get that point. While it didn't mean they threw out all the people working on ethics. So it might be it's that they've put aside long-term projection to make sure what they have in-house is functioning well and ethical versus a future that has not come yet. Another thing that's very important that Sam Altman said recently, and I loved, is he says there are two types of assistants. And this idea of having an assistant that just does exactly what you want, or an assistant that's a senior person that's working with you. When they see something that doesn't make sense, they'll come back to you and give you feedback on it. And I really think many of us would rather have a good version of this than just someone automatically doing things, especially if we're trying to multiply our effort. I mean, one of the most valuable things in my real assistant, Colleen, is she goes, Martin, have you considered this, and this with your business? I go, wow, that's valuable. Thank you for telling me. So I think that idea of it, they call it an agent working for you. Do you want a dumb agent, or do you want an agent that's really understands the priorities and values, and if something seems off, it will let you know? Well, I want the second one personally. So it's another thing that you'll hear more of, this discussion of this idea of an agent working for you. You give it assignments, it goes works for you, and understanding that that's one of the coming resources. And we talked that over earlier with David Amerlin as well. This idea of part of it will be the beginning versus the next. Our friend Kevin Welsh, he brought up a great piece of, remember, when electricity started, what you had was you had a belt being driven by a system that was powered by steam. And so they kind of took that system out and they plugged in an electric motor. That was the first tier. That's kind of where we are in a lot of cases. And then it evolved. And then all of a sudden you had the entire shop was reorganized around the idea of electricity. We aren't really there. Most people are like going, oh, I could just plug this in and use it. And this is why getting training and working on it's so important, because you want to be using it. So you're thinking, oh, not only could I use this electric motor here, but what if we restructured systems completely using something called electricity? Because now we can have multiple motors at different locations. We can change the speed. We don't have to have complex gears and everything else. So this is an important aspect of this is knowing we're in that first tier and it's moving fast. And I saw Elon, someone mentioned, it is the rate of change making it harder for you to predict the future. And he said, absolutely,
Hmm.
because it's happening so quickly. So
That's
I
right.
just wanted to take this time for a few reviews. The big one to know is the competition's on. Keep learning, keep noticing. We have new courses and training coming out as well, but make sure you're on the court playing with these and not just stuck in how to use ChatGPT. That's
That's right.
the mistake you can make in your career is only using one platform. You want to start building, just like when I used to teach social media in the early days, 2009, 10, you need to start seeing the patterns across platforms. That makes you more
Right.
valuable versus one little micro niche. And that's our advice for today. Anything else for the tip with the new changes? And we'll wrap it up.
And see, you know, even with us, we have our finger on this. We stay up to it every day, and we're constantly updating our courses. For example, with the AI agents, one of the courses is, you know, how to make money while you're sleeping, but you have to be awake to start. When it
Yes,
comes to AI agents, that's going to be one that's going to be transformed into, you know, something that hasn't really been taught before, because
that's
now
right.
you're really going to have your AI agent which is going to be working for you while you sleep and you wake up. Who knows what you're going to wake up to, what kind of growth. And so, really, we're really going into uncharted territory, and it's almost like you depending on how well you implement this, you can have a whole team of AI agents working for you, and you can still be your one person show.
Yep, that's it. Great. Well, check the text below. We have some resources and links. And of course, I recommend a book that they get, don't you? On
Right.
Tell them about a book that they might want to pick up that's very relevant to get started.
Well, the best one is before you start learning about neural networks, if you just want to know how to communicate with these systems and how to use them effectively, check out Amazon. We have Harnessing Artificial Intelligence for Your Brick and Mortar Business. It's a guide to prompts and AI operations written by yours, Dr. Justin Rose and Martin Brossman.
Yes.
It really is a really comfortable, easy read that really lets you peek behind the curtain on how to be an effective prompt engineer.
Yes. And don't forget, we have a playlist. We'll put the link
Hmm.
below. And if you bought the book, make sure that we now have a community for anyone who purchased the book. That'll be in the next update, but they can join us. This was great. Thanks, Justin.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.